In October 2024, Google signed a $500 million nuclear contract. Months earlier, that same company's expansion was blocked in Ireland. The grid couldn't handle the load. Electricity prices in the US are hitting record highs as data centers outbid everyone for power. So, who controls the energy supply that runs AI? I'm David, and this is where it gets interesting. In October 2024, Google signed the world's first corporate power purchase agreement for a small modular reactor, $500 million to Kairos Power, with the first unit by 2030 and additional plants through 2035. 7 months later, another deal, Elemental Power, to prepare 3 advanced nuclear sites, each designed for 600 megawatts minimum. Next era, Energy's 25-year contract recommissioned Duane Arnold in Iowa, operational late 2028 to early 2029. And the TVA became the first utility to buy from a Gen 4 reactor, channeling 50 megawatts from Kairos's Hermes 2 plant in Oak Ridge. Add it all up, 1.3 gigawatts of committed capacity. Roughly equivalent to a small country's power output. Google isn't just buying energy, it's buying control of supply. Every other tech company competes in the same market. Google owns the pipeline. But these deals assume the reactors get built on time, sites get licensed, the grid stays stable, none guaranteed. And meanwhile, American electricity prices are hitting all-time highs. Watch the orange line. Commercial electricity demand has climbed past residential since 2020, while prices have nearly doubled in 5 years. Data centers in Virginia alone now consume a quarter of the entire state's power output. The grid is being strangled by a single sector, and that sector is controlled by 5 companies. Fission alone won't scale fast enough. Google is betting on fusion, the technology that's never generated commercial power, yet has drawn $9.8 billion in private investment by mid-2026. Commonwealth Fusion Systems holds roughly 1/3 of that, $3 billion, backed by Google and targeting a 200-megawatt PPA signed June 2025 for electricity from its commercial ARC plant in Virginia by the early 2030s. Helion Energy, backed by Sam Altman and OpenAI's network, signed the first fusion-to-grid power deal with Microsoft, targeting 2028. In June 2026, Helion closed a $465 million funding round, bringing lifetime capital to $1.5 billion. TAE Technologies, Google's decade-long fusion partner, projects net energy before 2030 and just merged with Trump Media, becoming the first public pure-play fusion company. These are existential bets. If fusion works, the backer controls the energy powering AI for decades. If it doesn't, they've hemorrhaged billions on hope. The race is whether fusion proves real by 2028 to 2031, or whether big tech has backed the wrong horse. But regulation isn't neutral. The Trump administration rolled back green incentives in 2025 and made a strategic call. AI infrastructure gets fast permits. Build the data centers, own the future. The EU took the opposite path. New directives require data centers to report power consumption, renewable usage, and waste. In Ireland, Europe's data centers hub, Google tried a third Dublin campus in 2024. August, Ireland's planning authority said no. Insufficient grid capacity, inadequate renewables. Google will build that facility in Texas or Virginia instead, where permits are fast and the grid is being retrofitted. The split is stark. In North America, data centers cluster in Virginia, Ohio, Arizona, Texas, regions with power, cheap land, fast approvals. In Europe, slower growth, rising costs, grid constraints tighten. The Netherlands upgrades one layer at a time. Renewables lag behind. So the bet is, which side hosts the AI infrastructure that matters by 2030? While Google accelerates and the EU constrains, China runs a different race. The state is advancing fusion as strategic infrastructure, part of its dual carbon energy doctrine and clean tech dominance. China already controls global solar, wind, battery manufacturing. Fusion reactor construction is next. The difference is patient capital. Western fusion startups need returns and face venture deadlines. China's state programs have no ROI requirement. They fund for decades if necessary, betting that whoever breaks the fusion code first owns the energy infrastructure of the 2030s. This is why Google's billions matter. These investments aren't just about powering data centers. They're about ensuring the technology comes from the West, not Beijing. If China's state labs reach net energy first and patent the pathway, Western companies would have to license Chinese fusion. Control of the grid becomes control of the future. That's the unstated stake. Nuclear was dead. By 2010, it was supposed to fade as renewables scaled. By 2015, still dying. But between 2020 and 2025, something shifted. Nuclear became fashionable. Not because waste got solved or costs dropped, but because AI eats more power than renewables can deliver. Baseload electricity, 24/7 power, regardless of weather, is the only way big tech scales without blackouts. Nuclear is the only carbon-free baseload that exists. So nuclear got rebranded as a climate solution. ESG funds started buying. Regulators that blocked reactors approved new ones. We're now betting the climate transition on a technology we decided was too dangerous in 2010. Environmental costs aren't vanishing. Cooling water usage constrains some regions. Nuclear waste still has no repository. But those costs are being absorbed as acceptable collateral for AI dominance. The calculation shifted. Livable climate plus AI requires nuclear. So we choose it. And whoever controls the reactor fleet controls the terms. Here's what's happening beneath all these deals. In the 2030s, whoever controls the electricity running AI controls what gets built. It's that simple. Google doesn't just buy power from Kairos and NextEra, it owns the supply. When Commonwealth Fusion comes online in Virginia, Google has already locked it. When Hegemony delivers to Microsoft's grid in 2028, that power goes there first. Other tech giants, Meta, Amazon, Apple bid for what remains. The ones with reactors get first access. The ones without chase scarcity and pay premiums. This is unprecedented. Tech companies have never owned generation before. They bought from utilities, negotiated contracts, lived with constraints. Now, they're building the grid itself. Once a data center is powered by your reactor, you expand without asking regulators. You can add capacity in secret. You can redirect power as you choose. The company owning the most generation owns the most data. The company owning the most data owns the future. Commercial fusion is targeted for 2028 to 2031. Helion promises Microsoft Power by 2028. Commonwealth Fusion targets early 2030s. TAE projects net energy before 2030. Those timelines are aggressive. None of these plants exist. All face engineering challenges. Construction overruns are normal. But if they hit, the AI landscape changes. If they miss by 5 years, China's state labs could finish first. Whoever reaches net energy fusion first owns the energy infrastructure powering the next era of AI. On the fission side, NextEra's Dwayne Arnold is targeted for Q4 2028 to Q1 2029. Kairos and Elemental are siting reactors for 2030 deployments. The message is clear: move fast. In the US, regulators heard it. In Europe, grids will stay strained. In China, state labs advance without venture pressure. The race is on. By 2030, we'll know whether Google's bet scales, whether the grid holds. The winner controls not just power, but access to AI itself. And that determines everything after. The race for fusion and nuclear isn't about climate. It's about who controls the reactors. And that power is consolidating fast. If you want to understand where AI heads, watch the Energy Deals. Like and subscribe. I'm David. See you tomorrow.